Well, folks, we're here out at Oak Park Garden Center, and I'm here with Diane Giddens, one of our owners. Her and her husband have just turned this into an outdoor fantasy land. It's just absolutely gorgeous what you have out here. And today we're going to be talking about kind of helping out here with the Maumee Valley growers, some of the great things that you're able to do, and these garden fantasy areas that you guys, I know you have a special name for it.
Miniature gardens, some people call them fairy gardens, but it's everything that you would have in the landscape, only shrunk down.
I'm telling you, you know, we talked about this because I've already found like 6 different little villages I want to build, and during Christmas time I do it. I have the big Christmas villages up, but now people are doing it outside. It is just so cool what you're doing. And you have literally everything for people to come to do this. If they want to light them up at night, you can do that. What's the big sellers right now?
Houses and plants. You know, it's planting season,
right.
So everybody's getting plants for their fairy gardens, and we have those that are winter hardy. If you want to do an outdoor in the ground garden, or we have, you know, more temperate.
So you guys say if you want to bring them in, you can bring them in. And well, the one thing, and obviously that's not all that you guys have here, and you're one of the leaders in the area for outdoor ponds. And the other thing that I know I want to talk about is the ponds that don't look like ponds. You got the water overflowing and everything, and it's dripping down, and there's nothing there.
Stone.
Yeah, what's going on there? That's another thing. But seriously, you guys do have one of the most beautiful areas for ponds then too.
Thank you. Only been 30 years in the making.
But you know what? It's been 30 years to when this has started really to be, people want to do this in their houses, and they're not huge ponds. I mean, you can do the huge ponds and take care of all of the things you need there, but it's these little ponds, and these, like, what are they, a couple 100 gallons maybe? Yeah.
Or more. I mean, it just is whatever you have room for and you want to put in.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Fish, the whole deal.
Fish, plants.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. I've had, and I was telling you my little scenario at my old house where I had a little, maybe a 200 gallon there, and unfortunately my neighbor, who has passed away since then, so I could talk about this. No, he had a mulberry bush that turned into a mulberry tree. So we actually were making mulberry wine, and there was nothing we could do. When they dropped, they dropped. Yeah. But with fish, I've always had people. I actually kept my fish in this pond
all winter,
and it worked.
Yeah, it does.
How in the world?
Just 2.5 feet is all you need.
Okay, that was about what it was too.
And they just go dormant, and it works as long as it's clean. And we give you a few tips on how to winterize, but we have hundreds of people doing it every year.
Well, and too, we're concentrating on the fairy areas and all of the beautiful stuff here. But one question I do want to ask, only because I had somebody ask me to ask you this. They have a pond. They are getting so much hairy green algae muck, and I mean, it's like it smells. What can they do to get rid of this?
Best thing to do, bring me a water sample. Okay. We'll test your water. We're not going to guess. You know, if I had to guess, I'd say the pH is high. Okay. Because that's a symptom of high pH. Right. But we have products that we can fix just about any pond problem.
Well, that's something too. You know, they can help you out with everything. You know what I always try to tell everybody? Try your best to stay away from tap water. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I mean, I have a big 200-gallon fish aquarium, saltwater aquarium, and the greatest thing I did was I just went over and bought distilled water for it. And you know what? I had nothing against tap water, but a lot of people just, you know, put the tap water in, and that's their big problem.
You almost can't help it, though, in a pond situation. Right. You'd be buying a lot.
That's why I'm single at 54 years old, those stupid mistakes. Well, we're going to go, and you're going to design a little fairy garden area for us here. And it's just, I keep waiting to see just like little people come walking out of these things, you know, and some guy with his cigar and everything.
Yeah, no, I'm just teasing. They're shy. They're in there. Okay. They're just kind of shy right now.
Night people.
So we're having a fairy festival here June 3rd and 4th. And part of the activities is making a fairy garden. So the kids get to make a little fairy garden. We also do fairy garden classes starting toward the end of June. So I'll kind of show you what we teach in the classes and what we're going to show the kids. And what that is when you go to put in your fairy garden, I want you to kind of plan it where you're going to put things before you do anything. And the reason for that is people always want to put the plants in first. And you should put the plants in first. If you put the walkways and everything in, and then you put the plants in, everything's going to fall apart. So we're going to kind of figure we're going to put a path here. I think I'm going to put maybe a pond here if I have room. And then we put in the plants. So I'd like to have something that's like a bush, if you will. This little polka dot plant. I have a trowel, but I always use my hands when I plant. So we'll put that like right there, and I'll, you know, sometimes I'll change my mind and I'll move something around, but I think that'll work there. This I'm going to use as a little tree back here, and this is actually basil. So you're not just having to use the traditional miniature plants. You can put herbs in there, you can put annuals. This is a little fuchsia that's so cute, and I make lots of messes. But I'm going to just tuck that in there. And then I think they need some grass. And yes, the dirt flies when I do these. I'll put some grass right there. I was trying to decide, did I want this ladder to get the fairies up there or this one? I still haven't decided, and I just buried my fairy. Okay, so there's 3 plants in there. We have this really cool stuff. It's called magic sand. Okay, and we use this for our pathways. We use it for some of our ponds. And what I do is I put that in there like that. See, this is like doing a landscape job, only you don't break a sweat, okay? You can put in fences, you can put in all kinds of patios. And it really, you can, when you get up the next day, you're not going to be so sore that you can't walk, you know?
I wish it was that easy for me to put the sand in and put all the papers in.
I know. So here we just have some like little cobblestones. We're just going to stick those in real quick. And then they have a path to go to their house, that little fairy and this little gnome. This little guy's fishing. See there. So then here's where the magic starts. I take my squirt bottle, and maybe it won't work, but you spray this down and within 24 hours it sets up, so it's almost like concrete. So now when you go to wash it, you're not going to wash all your stones out. I just need a better squirt bottle. See if I can. Nope, it's not going to work. So then you can do the same thing with the magic sand and maybe make a little pond. So maybe I'll have him, I'd want my pond here because I think that grass looks like it needs a pond, don't you?
That would work.
So again, I'll just put that magic sand in there. And this was kind of a quick pathway, but you can get a lot more intricate with it. Put more stones in, so. And then we use this blue glass. Oh, look. And now you have a pond. I'd spray that down, and then that would stay where it's supposed to be. And then this gnome is catching a fish out of that pond. We could put some stones around the pond even if we wanted. We'll think about that. So we'll move the fairy over here now. She's kind of sitting on that. And then, you know, The gnome has this little pet dog. And he's kind of under there, and there's always a squirrel hanging around somewhere. So, voila.
Well, Diane, that was absolutely gorgeous and so quick. Now, if I were to do that, see, because I'm OCD, so I could never finish that.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I would never be able to make it look like what you just made. So that would bug me 24.
Yeah, well, but just think of it as always a work in progress.
This is true.
And then you're okay with
There,
it.
see? I'm learning. I'm not going to the psychiatrists anymore. Heck no, I just come out here and get my hands a little dirty, and that's probably better than doing that anyways.
It is.
And you do have some beautiful stuff. All of the accessories. I mean, you name it, you could walk through these areas and just spend hours in here. And
It's like a home and garden show or store for
for the little
people.
guy, for the little guy. And you know, and that's something we talked about off camera, is the fact that, you know, when you got this started a few years ago, there was none of this.
Yeah.
There just wasn't anything, because, I mean, you don't want it to rust. You don't, you know, there's certain things, and now it's just become probably $1 million or $2 million business.
Probably. Yeah, the suppliers have followed the trend,
Mm-hmm.
so we're always getting new stuff in. We bring new things in weekly. So
Oh.
if you've been here already, you need to come back, because we've probably got a lot more to offer.
And one of the really cute things is, right before we even got started with the interviews, you're expressing to me how you get the kids out here and you get them out here with their mom and dads on the weekends for little clinics, basically, and
Yeah.
teach these kids how to do this. And boy, they learn something about getting their hands dirty, and then they make something real
And
pretty.
they take off with it. So, and it's a real good bonding experience with mom and the kids, dad and the kids,
Sure.
grandma and grandpa and the kids. They
Not expensive, really.
No. I mean, it's as much as you want to spend. You can keep
Exactly.
it very, very reasonable.
Now, with these, when do you do these? On Saturday mornings, or?
Well, we have our Fairy Festival.
That's
June
big coming up.
3rd and 4th.
Okay.
And the kids will make a fairy garden. We have different activities. They come dressed up. I mean, it's really
Very
something to
neat.
see.
Very neat.
And then we have something called Wild Child on Saturday mornings from 10 to 11:30. It's for kids 2 to 12. It's an effort by us to get kids off of electronics and out into nature.
Boy, you're talking to a guy who's coached basketball for 19 years. I know exactly what you're talking about here. And just being able to get them out here, of course, all the water features that you have. And not to mention, I mean, full-fledged for annuals, perennials, and great. This is the weekend of the 28th. Well, actually, it'll be airing Memorial Day. Really, you can basically put everything in now, right?
You can put everything in, but you know what? If you don't get it in by Memorial Day, you can put it in all summer. So
Sure.
there's not really a deadline anymore on planting plants.
Well, I always ask this too, and we got a couple of seconds here with like my tomato plants and things like that. At the end of the season, you can basically transplant them and bring them in the house if you have a sunny area,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
Hey, something to think about. I'm a tomato
extra
freak.
lights.
You know, yes.
Get some extra lighting.
Well, thank you once again. And you guys are located right here off of Airport Highway.
Airport Highway and 295 south, right across from Charlie's.
Yep, good
2
food.
miles west of the airport.
Oh,
Easy to get to.
And your telephone number here.
419-825-1438.
Well, we want to get some of you people out here today, especially to give them a call and get yourself set up, bring the kids out here. It's just a wonderful time at Oak Park, and I'm very excited to maybe start thinking about putting in another water feater in my house, too.
Good.
Thank
Glad
you
we
so
inspired
much.
you.
Oh, they definitely did.